Hello and welcome to the United Forum. This is your latest Manchester United news, transfer news updates, and your opportunity to voice your opinion out for the very first time in Sri Lanka. We are live once again at 10 p.m. Yes, a little late due to a few issues, but yes, we are live once again for the pre-match press conference. This time not for the Premier League match, but for the FA Cup game that will take place on Tuesday at 1:30 a.m. It is a pre-match press conference. Ralph Rangnick, plenty of news to bring to you as well. Unrest in the dressing room. Is Ralph Rangnick losing the players? And a plenty more to talk about. Excuse me there. Once again, a short press conference, but for the first time in Manchester United's history, there were proper questions asked from the manager, and I very much think this is because it is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And the interesting thing about this pre-match press conference is that Ralph Rangnick's pre-match press conference was delayed for 1 hour. So, what is actually behind this delay? We're not quite sure. Was it technical issues? Was it issues with the club? Or was it issues with Ralph Rangnick? We're not quite sure what exactly is the problem, but definitely we know that Ralph Rangnick's pre-match press conference was delayed by an hour. To start things off, there were 5 questions asked from Ralph Rangnick, and definitely there were good questions about the unrest in the dressing room. Are the players adapting to Ralph Rangnick's philosophy? Is everything going all right? Are the coaches making progress? And plenty more questions asked from Ralph Rangnick. A very good one, as I think, as well. So we'll start off with the first question. The first question that Ralph Rangnick was asked straight off was about the current atmosphere at Manchester United, and especially after the Wolves game. What is the atmosphere at Manchester United? Was what Ralph Rangnick was asked about, and what he did have to say on this is, I can only tell you about this squad, locker room, coaching staff. Everybody was disappointed not only about the result but also performance. We have 4 days of training before Aston Villa. My job is to make sure we show a different performance. He further adds, sorry, the and yes, as usual, the what do I say, journalist did add a few questions into their questions as well. And one of that was if the players are buying into his philosophy, like I told you. And what he did say is they are at least trying. I'm sure they are at least listening. So this, in my opinion, from Ralph Rangnick is a hint that the squad at Manchester United at the moment is split, that the players are not trusting each other. There is no proper trust between the manager at the moment and the players, and there is no good trust between the players themselves at Manchester United. And that is why very much I think that Ralph Rangnick him says they are at least trying, and I'm sure they are at least listening, at least repeated once again there, and which is why I think that Rannick is giving out a hint to the fans and the media out there that there are problems at the moment in the locker room. There are actually problems between the manager and between the players, and between the players and players themselves as well. He further adds to his reply there. I think we showed in the last games that they are trying to follow the advice we give. We conceded less goals than before, but it is about balance between offense and defense. We also conceded less goals than before, an average of 1.7 goals per game that we have conceded so far, in minus 0.6 in the 6 games as interim manager. Yes, it is all about balance. Something once again Ralph Rangnick, as we all know, is once again is highlighting about the balance in games, how the transition works from offense to defense. And definitely I think you would agree with me as well. Since Ralph Rangnick has been at Manchester United, we can agree that there is a slight improvement in defense as well. I think definitely yes, we are conceding much less goals than before under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer towards the end of his career as a manager, and we look much more stable. Yes, we still look shaky, we still don't look rock solid at the back, but definitely there is improvement. There's no worries. Hopefully things get better for Ralph Rangnick. I actually feel for Rangnick because he has not been for managing for about 10 to 10 years or even more. I think it's about 10 to 20 years because he's mostly been a director of football at most places lately. And he's coming to Manchester United, one of the biggest club in Europe, and he's had to manage a squad that has been throwing managers under the bus constantly. We saw it with Jose Mourinho, we saw it with Louis Van Gaal, we also saw it with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer himself, and now Ralf Rangnick himself is experiencing this situation, which is really not pleasant for a manager, especially when you are an interim boss who is only here for 6 months, but is known to bring balance to the team and turn things the other way around for a short period of time. And Manchester United players, I think, must be proud of themselves to be proving themselves wrong, proving the doubters wrong there, and which is actually quite a shame. And in my opinion, each and every player out there does not deserve to call themselves a Manchester United player, or neither do they deserve to put on that jersey as a Manchester United player. And Which is quite a shame. If I was Ralph Rangnick at this moment, what I would do is keep Rafael Varane, players like Rafael Varane, David De Gea, Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, players who would give their all for Manchester United and sell off all the others. Because, to be honest, you take Marcus Rashford for an example. He was injured when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the manager at Manchester United. He was injured, and during that break, after the previous season, during the preseason, he was given rest, and he did his surgery. He recovered. He was back, and to be honest, during the first few days of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as the manager in this season, he looked quite sharp. In his first game itself, he looked quite sharp. He had the shape, he had the pace, and his finishing was quite good for a player who is returning from injury. And as soon as things did not go according to plan, players started throwing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer under the bus, and we also did see Marcus Rashford's form dipping down. And then came Ralph Rangnick. We thought that things would get much better, and no, it did not for Marcus Rashford especially. So it's really weird, in my opinion. Now this is opinion, football is about your opinion. My opinion differs from yours, so do send in your opinion on the live chat as well. Anything you've got Manchester United related, do send it on the live chat. And this is my opinion, this is what I think about Marcus Rashford. What I think about Marcus Rashford is that he is not playing for Ralph Rangnick at the moment, because if he is a player who can play like he played with that injury he had, definitely after all the rest, after all the surgeries, after all the recovery he had, definitely he can be a better player. But his form at the moment has been far worse than the form he had when he played while he was injured. So it speaks a little bit of himself, and which is why I think he is not playing for the manager. And at the moment, if you have to sell players like Marcus Rashford to get things going, to get players who will play for the Manchester United crest, who will play for the club, who will put the club in front of them, I will do it, because, like Sir Alex Ferguson said, nobody is bigger than the club. And the situation right now at Manchester United is pathetic, because we've seen it under Jose Mourinho, we've seen it under Louis Van Gaal, David Moyes was another story, and we saw it under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Immediately after Jose Mourinho came, Jose Mourinho is one of the best managers in the world when he came to Manchester United. And he had issues with Paul Pogba. Listen, I know that Paul Pogba is considered to be one of the best players in the world, you could say, at that time. If you are one of the best players in the world, you should be delivering. Be it Jose Mourinho, be it Antonio Conte, be it Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you should have the hunger, you should have the desire in you to deliver. Be it a manager who you don't like, be it a manager who you like. If you are a player with hunger, desire, And if you really take that privilege of being called the best player in the world at the moment, you will deliver at all moments, at all costs. And if you can't do it, get out of the club. Be it the best player in the world, be it the worst, get out of the club. The problem with Manchester United at the moment, not at the moment, Ralph Rangnick, I hope and pray, will make things better. He has been making things better, but previously has been, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer especially, has been sentimentality. And a part of that problem is, I definitely think, the Glazers. I think before the managers go out, before the players go out, it has to be the owners who have to go out. Because if Manchester United had proper owners who are football owners, owners with the knowledge of football and not business minded owners, things would have been much better. I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wouldn't have even been appointed as the manager. Maybe as an interim manager, you could say. As permanent, no, you know that he does not have experience as a manager. He does not have trophies in his cabinet as a manager, and therefore you would not appoint him in the first place. The problem as Manchester United is the root of the tree, and that is the owners. And until that changes, I really don't think anything else is going to change. Yasir Latif says, "Let's go, Juad. Thanks for all the love shown on the comments. Do keep sending your opinions on the live chat. Give this video likes, hit that subscribe button, and turn your notifications on. And do keep sending your opinions on the live chat because it is you that keeps the show running." Straight off, let's move on to the second question that was asked from Ralph Rannick, and that is his reaction, Manchester United's reaction basically to the loss against Wolverhampton Wanderers, and also about the midfield situation. Is Ralph Rannick, is Manchester United missing a player in that midfield, was the question asked. And what he did have to say is, they are at least trying. I am sure they are listening. I think we showed in the last games that they are trying to follow the advice we give. We conceded less goals than before, but it is about the balance between offense and defense. Uh, and also on the issue on the midfield, what he did have to say is, it doesn't help if there is a profile missing. We need to work with the players we have. He also says, we have shown we are able to keep clean sheets with these players, but it is what we are doing with and without the ball. We had too many turnovers in that game. We shouldn't make it too easy for others. Uh, for the other times when we have the ball, it is about being responsible, and it is about the decision making at the right time, is what Ralph Rangnick had to say. Now, he says here, it doesn't help if there is a profile missing. Is this Ralph Rangnick hinting out, saying that he needs a midfielder? I definitely think so. And just not just me, I think every Manchester United fan out there will agree with me. Manchester United need a defensive midfielder. In that midfield pivot, we don't have quality midfielders. You look at the perfect example was that Chelsea and Liverpool game. If you did watch the Chelsea game against Liverpool, or you could say Liverpool game against Chelsea, I thought it was a thrilling game. It was exciting. It was about two teams which are tactically well set by two brilliant managers, also known as the students of Ralph Rangnick. The midfield battle was between Kovacic and Antonio Conte against the likes of Fabinho and Henderson. And now take a look at that for a midfield battle. And had it been Manchester United against Liverpool, you look at the midfield battle. It is Fred and Scott McTominay against Fabinho and Henderson. Look at the levels of these players. Look where they stand. Look where the Liverpool midfield stands. Look where the Manchester United midfield stands. Manchester United midfield looks very much like a mid-table, you could say bottom of the table, or even a championship midfield, whereas Liverpool's midfield looked like a top quality European challenging midfield. That's where we stand at the moment. And not just last year, not just the year before that, but for the past 3 years, we've been crying for a midfielder, a defensive midfielder. And the Herrera left, we never replaced him. And I think we are suffering from that decision made. Let's move on to the next question that was asked from Ralph Rangnick. To give me a minute. The next question that was asked from him was about the dressing room being unsettled. Is it a problem at United regardless of the manager? Which I think is the question of the day. A question I've been impatient to hear from the journalist as well. A question which I think is worth my time, worth your time, worth everyone's time to be listening to as well. So, what Ralph Rangnick did have to say on this is that uh, this is not only an issue with a club like Manchester United. When you have a big squad, in the last two games, we had most of the players available. We had three centre backs missing against Wolves. In general, we had most of the players available apart from Paul Pogba, and 10 few players can apart from Paul Pogba, and 10 few players can play, 3 subbed, then you have quite a number of players who don't even play or not even in the squad. He further said those players are unhappy about the situation. It's obvious, clear. I tend to explain to players every 2 or 3 weeks why they are not playing, and that is not an issue in our team and other clubs, is what Ralph Rangnick had to say. I think I very much agree with what Rangnick has to say. We have got a huge squad, a squad which is overloaded in my opinion, and having such a squad definitely can create problems for a manager because you've got to keep so many players happy. You've got to keep, apart from the 11 starting, if you've got a squad of 25 players, which Manchester United do have, so if there are 11 players starting on that pitch, you've got to have 24, you've got to make 24 other players happy. And to be doing this week in, week out is not easy considering the caliber of players you have. You've got the Cristiano Ronaldos, the Bruno Fernandes, Varans, the Dahias. So it ain't easy keeping the other 24 players happy. So definitely problems like this are going to arise. But what the journalist says here, regardless of the manager, is it a problem at United considering the fact that the dressing room is being unsettled quite consistently? Which I also agree with what Ralph Rangnick said, but I also very much agree with the journalist more than Ralph Rangnick. I think at Manchester United, regardless of the manager, the whole squad, Manchester United itself is a problem because we've seen, I keep saying this, we've seen Jose Mourinho come, we've seen Louis Van Gaal come, David Moyes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and these players have constantly kept throwing the managers under the bus. And when such a thing happens, the owners have got to realize the situation at the club. They've got to send in the players who are not suitable, who are not fit enough to be a Manchester United player because you get world class managers. When Jose Mourinho came to Manchester United, he was one of the best managers in the world. And if these players can't work with the manager as such, be it Marcus Rashford, be it Paul Pogba, be it Cristiano Ronaldo, you've got to get out of the club. You've got to send them out of the club. This is Manchester United we are talking about. The biggest club in England, one of the biggest in Europe. Compare them on the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona. And if the players are not ready to take up the challenge, when you are a player, you have to take up every challenge. You talk about, as a football player, it has to be, I have to accept challenges. Challenges come throughout your career. You've got to accept this is that is this. Mountains are meant to climb. If mountains are meant to climb, if there is a manager you don't like, it is your responsibility. It is your mountain to be climbed. It is your challenge to perform well, give out significant performances, and win the trust of that manager. If you are a Manchester United manager, this is what you have to do. Not keep complaining about the managers and get the managers out of the club and keep throwing the managers under the bus consistently until you get a man you like. Really? Is that what you are going to do as a Manchester United player? In my opinion, like I keep telling, the problem at Manchester United is Manchester United, is the players at Manchester United. If Manchester United are to get back to the old glory days, each and every player out there has to have a clean slate. And if they can't be here, be it Marcus Rashford, I don't care if he is an academy product. Be it Scott McTominay, be it Cristiano Ronaldo, David Dahlia, Bruno Fernandes, Rafael Varane. Can you work with the manager? No? Get out of the club. Go find another club. We'll get players who are willing to play for Manchester United, who are willing to put their heart and soul into the club, put the club before them, and commit towards this club and work with this manager. If you can't, get out. That is how you have to be at Manchester United. You have to be ruthless at times. Be it a player who has come from the academy, be it a legend of the game, be it anyone else, nothing is bigger than the club. And that is why I think if Manchester United are to be fixed, each and every one of these players have to have a clean slate and get out of this club. Let's move on. Two more questions coming up as well. Final two questions, and we'll wrap the show up. Fourth question that was asked from Ralph Rangnick is about the players not knowing Ralph's future. Is it a problem? Is the players not knowing about Ralph Rangnick's future a problem? Because I think I know, each and every Manchester United fan know. Do excuse me there, having a bad throat. Uh, that Ralph Rangnick is only here for 6 months, and therefore, is he going to be the next permanent manager? Is someone else going to come and take it up in the summer? So is that a problem at Manchester United? So what Ralph Rangnick did have to say is that we have players with contracts expiring in the summer. We also have one or two more people, beg your pardon, who want to leave and are under contracts. It's about the players dealing with it in a professional way, showing up in training, showing up, getting a chance to play. He also says if this is not the case, the player, club, and agents need to discuss the situation. I cannot say anyone else. I will address to the players directly. And that's pretty much basic to the point by Ralph as well. I think you'll agree. We have players who want to leave, who are under contracts. It's about the players dealing with that in a professional way, which I think, in a sort of way, is hitting the Martial's situation as well, since his agent came out on the media and showed Martial's desires to leave Manchester United before having conversations with the manager. And I think it is also because Ralph Rangnick was a new manager at Manchester United, and even before Martial was given a chance, he called out, and that is why I think Ralph Rangnick went with a such answer. And the final question, bringing in the final question from the pre-match press conference, and that is, are your coaches making progress? How important is the FA Cup for Manchester United? Was some of the question that was asked. I'll rephrase that for you. Are the coaches currently at Manchester United making progress? And how important is the FA Cup? Was what Ralph Rangnick was asked. And his reply to this is, I mean, yes, we have made some progress, but obviously, versus Wolves was a step back. A relapse to habits we have shown in the past. We need to insist that we need to work together. We can only get better in possession of the ball together. We have to do this. We have to do things together with passion, like I told you about hunger, about the desire to play for the club, and this is what I think he too is emphasizing on. He says we have to do things together with passion, emotion, and intensity. This was the problem against Wolves. We were only escorting them. He further goes on to say it was only David Dahia. He kept us in the game. Second half was better with a back three. And about that back three, immediately after the game, the next day after the game, what we did hear from the media and from sources from the media is that Ralph Rangnick is not wedded to the formation 4-2-2-2. He is already also ready to go to a back three. So, if all three centre backs are fit, are we going to see Ralph Rangnick go to a back three in the FA Cup game? In my opinion, I personally think this 4-2-2-2 formation is good, but I just don't think it'll work at Manchester United, especially considering Bruno Fernandes as well. I really don't think this formation so same. Neither do I think it'll fit Manchester United. I prefer a three at the front as well. I know we've always wanted to see two strikers with Cavani and Ronaldo, and I just don't think it is working. And that is why I want to see more creativity from our wing forwards as well. And if we do play a front three, we have Jadon Sancho on the right. We'll most probably have Rashford on the left, and either Ronaldo or Cavani up front. And I think with a creative winger like Jadon Sancho, Bruno Fernandes going back to his previous role as a number 10 would create would have more creativity, which is why I think we either need to go to a back five with a front three, or basically for a 4-3-3, or maybe a 4-2-3-1 as well. Anything that will make an upgrade on the 4-2-2 situation as well. And that is pretty much it from the pre-match press conference. And now let's move on to the predicted lineup and predicted scores. Now, if you are watching this live, do send in your comments on the live chat. Do send in your predicted lineups, predicted scores. If you do get one of them correct, I will give you a shout out the next show and on our Instagram page. And like you see here, this is my predicted lineup. Yes, it is a 4-2-2 because I've still not seen Ralph Rangnick officially change to a back three, and considering the fact that he only changed it in the second half of the Wolves game, and we've got a few centre backs a little unfit, I think he'll stick to a 4-2-2-2. And considering it is the FA Cup as well and against Aston Villa, and like you see here, my back four being Alex Telles, who I think will come back after getting 2 games rest at the Premier League. I think Diogo Dalot will come back as well just before the Premier League game to get a few minutes on the legs. I think it'll be Rafael Varane, since he is not being very sharp, just to get that, match sharpness, you could say. And Harry Maguire as well, I think he has been in very bad form, and this will be the perfect opportunity to mend things right. I think the midfield would change since it is the FA Cup as well, and we've got a game the next week. So I think it'll be Fred and Van de Beek in midfield for a change. I think he'll definitely change things around to see how certain things will work with these players. And I think Bruno Fernandes will make it back to the starting 11 as well, alongside Jadon Sancho in the midfield. And and I also think Cavani and Ronaldo need to be given a rest, and that is why I think it'll be Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford given the opportunity to mend things right again and play that striker's role. That is my predicted lineup, and my predicted score for this is 1-0. I think Aston Villa, once again, under Steven Gerrard, are looking a decent team. Defensively, quite good as well. And it'll be a tough game. Aston Villa are a good team. They have in fact completed the deal of getting Phil Coutinho as well to their midfield. They are working on Lucas Dean. You never know, so they look quite strong as well. And that is why I've gone with a 1-0, considering the fact that we have not been looking very sharp. Do send in your predictions on the live chat. If you are new to the channel, do smash that like button, give us a subscribe, share this video, and also do follow us on our Instagram page at united.forum, as you see on your screen. That is the username. The link is also in the description. Do go head out to our description and hit that link to follow our Instagram page. That is pretty much it from tonight. Ralph Rangnick's pre-match press conference reaction is what you were here for. We'll be back next Sunday at 10 p.m. for the next show. It won't be a player ratings or match reaction show, since there is no game on Sunday. So it'll be another show, maybe a little bit of transfer news, or maybe a news show as well. So do stay tuned in and tune in on Sunday at 10 p.m. That is pretty much it for tonight, folks. Until I see you next Sunday at 10 p.m., have a good night and a blessed weekend. This is the United Forum.